Hey, what's going on? Aaron here. Hope you're doing well. If you're watching this video right now, you might be checking out Turo as an app to see whether this is a great way to create some side income. All right, so I'm going to review Turo, and you can decide for yourself whether this is a waste of your time or if this is something that you might want to pursue to generate more side income. All right. Now, at any time, if you want to get my favorite way to get to 5 to 10,000 US dollars per month, 100% from home, you don't even have to leave your house. Just go ahead and click the link below, and I'll send you that strategy for free straight to your email. You can check that out if you want. All right. Now, I've reviewed hundreds of different ways to make money online, make money apps, make money websites, different business models, and some of them are great, but some of them are a little bit of a waste of time depending on how much money you can really earn. So let's take a look at Turo to break down whether this is a good opportunity for you to create some side income or not. All right. Now, Turo is a very, very popular car rental app based in the US. So they're basically the Airbnb of car rentals, all right? So if you have a car that you don't use very often and you want to make some extra money from just renting it out to people that want to use your car, then this is might be a good way for you to generate some extra income, right? So if you come to Turo.com, you just click on how to become a host, and you'll be led to this page right here, and you can basically sign up in order to build your little car business or rent out your car for the times that you're not really using it, okay? Now, this is how this works, right? So the cool thing about Turo is that you can rent out pretty much any car except off-road vehicles, right? So if you're trying to rent out off-road vehicles, you're not able to do that. But if you have a regular car like a Fiat or whatever, an Infinity, and you don't use it that often, and for some hours you want to rent it out, you can do that using the Turo app. All right. Now, some of the things that you have to understand about Turo is that it's only available in certain countries. So it's available all over the US, it's available all over Canada, in the UK, Germany, and a few other European countries. This is where they focus mainly. They've been around for a long time though. Turo's been around since 2010, so they're constantly opening up new countries, so you can check back to see whether they're available in your specific country. Now, a couple of things that you must understand about the cars that they accept. Even though they do accept most cars, there are a few things that you have to understand. Your car cannot be older than 12 years. Okay, if it's older than 12 years, you're not able to rent it out. It also has to be less than 130,000 miles. So if your car has done more than 130,000 miles, you can't rent it out. Okay, so these are the two very, very important things that you need to understand. Another thing that you have to understand about renting your car out on Turo is they have different insurance plans and earning plans, right? They've got the 90 plan, the 85 plan, the 80, the 75, and the 60 plan. Now, the biggest difference between the 90 plan and the 60 plan is the 90 plan, you can earn 90% of the earnings. So if you're renting out your car for a certain amount of money every single hour, right, you can keep 90% of your commissions, but you have to cover all of the damages yourself. That means that if your renters scuff your car, they get into an accident, they scratch your window, whatever it is, you have to cover 100% of those costs. All right, Turo is not responsible for that, and there's a $2,500 US dollar deductible on that. If you decide to go for the 60 plan, then you only take back 60% commissions or 60% of your earnings. 40% goes to Turo, okay? But Turo will cover all of the damages to your car. Not scuffs though, but like serious damages to your exterior, they will cover that. And the deductible is much, much less. It's only $250, okay? So the lowest risk plan for you to be not out of pocket is the 60 plan. The 90 plan is the most aggressive plan, so you get to keep 90% of your earnings, a lot more cash flow, but you have to cover, it's higher risk, right? Because if your renters get into an accident, things like that, you have to cover all the damages. So it really depends on where you want to be. And 85, 80, and 75 are kind of somewhere in the middle. Okay, so it just depends on how much risk you want to take with your actual plan, right? Now, the big question is how much can you really make from renting out your car, right? Now, if you scroll down to this right here, this actually paints a pretty accurate picture, I would say, of how much you can really earn. All right, so this is one vehicle, this is 3, 5, 7, and 9. Now, this is taking into consideration that you have a fleet of cars, right? They're looking here like maybe you're going to start some sort of rental business, okay? Now, for the most part, the average person is not going to start a car rental business. For the most part, people will be kind of up here. All right. Now the average income is really between 7,000 and 10,000. 10,000 is on the slightly higher end. Okay. So what the average person will see is anywhere between 7,000 and 10,000 US dollars in earnings per year. Right. Now this is also very dependent on where you live, because this is a supply and demand based economy, right? Because it's exactly like Airbnb. If you live in an urban city where there's lots of demand, like if you're in New York, or maybe you're in LA where people really need cars, right? Or you're in Denver or something like that, for example, right? Or you're in London, right? Where people need to rent cars all the time, then perhaps you can get to levels where you'll get a lot of renters actually renting your cars, right? But remember, in the urban areas, competition is also high on Turo, right? Because you have to compete against other people that are hosting their cars on the platform. So it depends on a lot of things. It depends on the make of your car, because certain people like to rent out certain types of models of cars, right? And other cars aren't so popular. It also depends on where you live. Do you live near an airport? Do you live near where people can access your car? Do you live in a city where there are a lot of people coming in, a lot of tourists, or a lot of people needing to rent vehicles, right? If you live in a part of the country where it's very quiet, like the countryside, you're not going to necessarily get as many bookings, right? So it really depends. This is like average best case scenario. That's what I would say, right? $7,000 to $10,000 per annum. That works out to be between $583 and $833 on the higher end per month on one vehicle. Right? So it really depends on, again, where you are, where you live, and it kind of fluctuates, okay? So earnings are not bad, right? But on top of that, you have to remember that there are a lot of things that you have to consider, all right, before you rent out your car. $583 on the lower end per month, not bad, but that doesn't cover things like wear and tear. It doesn't cover things like insurance, depending on what kind of plan you're on, okay? It doesn't cover things like depreciation of the value of the car. And on top of that, there are quite a few things that you have to do. Remember that if you decide to rent your car out, it is kind of like a side hustle, right? It's a side business that you are renting out. So there are quite a few things that you have to do. You have to take pictures of your cars every time somebody uses it. You have to clean the car every time you rent it out to a new renter. You have to make sure that your renter is able to access the car. And the cool thing about Turo is there are many, many ways that you can give the renter access to your car, right? You can install some automation onto your car. You can put it in a lockbox in specific locations around the city. You can put it in, a specific location close to the airport. It really depends on how you want to set it up depending on where you live. They will help you with that, so don't worry so much about that. But just understand that as a host, these are a lot of the things that you have to think about, right? You have to think about how your renter is going to get access to the car. You have to think about cleaning the car. You have to think about taking pictures before and after, right? Just in case there's damage. How do you repair it? Things like that, right? And you have to also think about updating the posts and the reviews of your car. That's very, very important, because it works exactly like Airbnb, right? The more posts you have, the better the reviews, the higher your listing is going to be, and the more rentals that you're going to get. So it really depends on that. You have to work the app, right? So this is not a 100% kind of like hands-off thing. You do have to be hands-on. Obviously, it's not going to be as hands-on as being like an Uber driver, for example, right? Or a Lyft driver. But there is work involved, okay? And so you have to decide how much work you're willing to put in for the amount of money that you're making, because the reality is if you really think about it, for the amount of work, maybe $583 a month is not that much money to you, because it's not that much money if you really think about it. Now, it's better than not making anything at all, especially if your car is sitting there for hours and hours and hours on end, not really doing anything. But you do have to put in a little bit of work, okay? So you have to decide on whether that is worth your time or not. But if you're cool with that and you want to rent out your car, right, then Turo is a pretty cool app. I mean, there are competitors out there, like GetAround is a big competitor. I think that you can make more money on Turo than you can on GetAround, okay? Because GetAround doesn't have the different plans. They only have one plan, and they actually take 40% commissions or 40% fee, which is very, very high. But it can be quite similar on Turo if you decide to go with the 60 plan, which is the safest plan. Okay, so depends on what kind of plan you want to take, what kind of risk you want to take, but not a bad option, especially if you have 1 or 2 cars lying around, you really don't use them that much, and you don't mind doing a little bit of the admin work and figuring out how your renters can get access to your cars. It might be a good way to earn a little bit of money. If you have 2 cars and you don't mind doing a bit of the work, you could earn over $1,000 extra per month. Then it might be a little bit worth it for you. Okay, so if you want to check out Turo, just head over to Turo.com. Pretty cool way. There's lots of ways to make money online these days. There's lots of gig economy, side income type of deals. All right, not bad. $1,000 a month, $500 a month. It's not life-changing, but it's better than, your car's just sitting around doing nothing and earning nothing for you, all right? Now, if you're watching this video, though, perhaps you're looking for a way to make significant side income, right? There are lots of different ways. See, here's the thing about the world that we live in right now. There's so many different apps and websites and business models that you can access, but a lot of them don't earn you that much money, okay? A lot of them will earn you, a few bucks a day. These guys are pretty decent. So Turo, at least you can earn a few $100, $500. If you have 2 or 3 cars, it starts to add up, right? But if you want to earn thousands of dollars a month, there are very few things that you can do, right? And so I've been marketing online for over 14 years. There's only one favorite way for me out of all of the things that I've reviewed and tried myself to get me to $5,000 to $10,000 US per month. So if you would like to check that out, go ahead and click the link below. I'll send you that strategy for free straight to your email. This is a strategy where you can do 100% from home. You don't even need to leave your house. So if you want to check that out, I'll send that to you straight by email. I hope you enjoyed this review of Turo. All the best to you, and I hope to see you on another review. Take care.